All right, welcome to the March planning board meeting. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Colleen, I think, you know, as Jay indicated, he wasn't really get that on the draft tonight. But did the rest of the board see Colleen's email?
Yes.
Okay. Then I would, if that being the case, I'd say motion to approve with the changes.
Yep.
From Colleen.
Yep.
Okay, motion. May second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Jay, correspondence?
Yes, there was a training sent out. I have been in coordination with the consultants. I believe we have a potential date for the Iron Star workshop. We'll get to that during their item on the agenda. And I have also had a number of conversations with members of the planning board and other folks regarding what was discussed at the end of last meeting. So, you know, we're working on it.
Okay. Okay, conflicts check. Anyone have any issues with any of the applications for us tonight? No? All right, then we'll move into the agenda. Iron Star. And let me just say, for the record, this is a revised proposal or presentation by Iron Star tonight. We will not be taking questions. If the board has any issues or something they want to clarify, that's fine. There'll be no comment from the public. This is to be reviewed by our engineers and architects and planners. So we're just an informational meeting. So, Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, for those here in the public and with the board, my name is Taylor Palmer. I'm a partner with the law firm of Cuddy and Fader here on behalf of the applicant. As the chairman mentioned, we are here in connection with our reduced development proposal. It's good to see you all again in person. Of course, this is our 1-year anniversary, so have our anniversary of the project review. So again, we are back up. Sorry, taking cues. I know, voice projects even through the math. Tonight I am joined by in person in the flesh Mr. Bodendorf of Hudson Land Design. He's our project engineer. On the Zoom in front of you all, I believe their faces are probably there in front of you. We have our architect R.A. Siegel. We have our project traffic consultant Frank Licciotto of Creighton Manning Engineering, as well as Brian Quinn of One Nature, who is our ecologist. Ecologist. Why is that a tough word to say? And our environmental planner. And we also have Beth Selig, who is our cultural resources expert. They will give you very brief updates to the project program. And again, they're on Zoom tonight. Importantly, I'm also joined by the applicant. She's actually going to give us the update to the project and the reduced scope and scale of the project. But without further ado, I will turn attention to Stacy Surgan, the applicant, and she will talk to you again about how the revised development proposal is limited only to lot 3. So we are not proposing any development up on the ridge. But I'll let her tell you all the important highlights that are included in our supplemental submission to your board. And then we will circle back and we'll note some procedural items, but we have had a chance to speak with Jay and then ultimately we defer to council and others with respect to the workshop and others. So appreciate that. And if I may ask that Stacy be unmuted on Zoom so she might give us the update.
Hi, I think I am unmuted. First, I just want to say thank you for letting me appear by Zoom this evening. I've been there almost every single Thursday for the last year, and tonight is my son's 8th birthday. So I wanted to be home in the house when we had his birthday party. So I appreciate being allowed to appear by Zoom. As most of you know, my name is Stacy Shergan, and I'm the owner and applicant of record for the Iron Star Retreat Center. I'm here tonight to present a summary of the new and scaled back version of our site plan. The plan has been reduced in an effort to address comments from the public and to respond to comments we've received from the board and its consultants over the last few months. Before I touch on the changes, I just wanted to convey again what exactly the Iron Star Retreat Center will be. Our project will be a quiet place for people and families to come and enjoy the outdoors and open spaces where one can engage in reflection and relaxation. Whether it's to spend time with family, alone, or friends, it will be a place that offers retreat from the busy world. Our intention is to give guests small farm and outdoor experiences, collecting eggs from chickens, honey from bees, picking vegetables and fruits, hiking, walking, and offering cooking, yoga, and art classes. inviting guests to stay a few days in small cabins so they can unplug from the world, see open, beautiful farmland up close, and patron local businesses in the area. These and other planned activities are quiet and peaceful experiences. This is the mission of our project. While we have only owned the property for 2 years, it's very clear to me and my family how special the Western Ridge area feels. This is why we wanted to share it with our guests. Some of you may have been up there and know from personal experience that it's a beautiful place. To preserve this special place, make peace, be a good neighbor and community member, we have decided not to develop this area. We respect our neighbors' comments about the prior proposal, and while we may not always agree, our reduced development proposal expresses our desire to show that being a good neighbor outweighs the need for others to enjoy this special place. So what makes this plan different? First, we've moved all the development to the eastern portion of the property. There is no development plan for the retreat center on any of the property located west of the stream. You recall that area was going to be improved with a parking area and glamping structures on the ridge, together with an updated emergency access road. This reduced development will dramatically reduce any potential impacts, including utility demand, stormwater generation, and any perceived lighting issues. Development on the property is now limited to one lot, Lot 3, and the project will be entirely contained on approximately 36 acres of land, vastly reduced from the original 147 acres. We have reduced the overall disturbances on the property by 50% from the original proposal. Over these 36 acres, there will be 12 small permanent structures. These structures will consist of approximately 4 two-bedroom family units, each approximately 1,200 square feet, and 4 A-frames, each approximately 225 square feet. The additional 5 rooms will be in the inn. The total permanent units will be 17, approximately 50% less than the original 33-room plan. Having fewer permanent units means having fewer occupants to the property year-round. Seasonally, from Memorial Day to Columbus Day, we will offer a true glamping experience. In an additional 11 temporary accommodations. Glamping is glamorous camping. The structures will be located on wooden platforms and will consist of tents decorated with real furniture. This is where the term glamping comes from. Glamorous because you aren't sleeping in a sleeping bag. The maximum occupancy, even during these 20 seasonal weeks, will be significantly less than our original plan, since our units are much smaller and therefore cannot accommodate larger groups. In addition to the change in the size and accommodations at Iron Star, we have removed the event space. We hope this also addresses many of the public's comments about the project in general. We have also reduced the recreational amenity building from 3 structures to 1, as we will combine massage, fitness, and amenities related to the pool into 1 structure, which also reduces the project's footprint. At the December meeting, a few neighbors mentioned the need for more restaurants in Ankrum. In response to this comment, we have designed the inn with a 40-seat restaurant that will be open to the public. At the request of our neighbor directly across the street, we have repositioned the design of the inn so that the patio area no longer faces Route 82, but instead faces my house along the back of Lot 3. With this change, any potential concerns regarding noise or disturbance during limited outdoor use will be blocked by landscaping and the inn itself. All new structures will remain modular, with roughly 90% of the building taking place off-site, making construction on the property less noisy and disruptive. Because the scale of the project has been significantly reduced, the staffing will also be reduced. Currently, our updated plan will provide employee housing for an innkeeper and other staff as needed as the project phases in. For the permanent structures, the earth will be less disturbed by using helical piles as opposed to digging foundations. The lighting will be carefully designed so that it isn't just dark sky compliant, but we will have motion sensors and timers when permitted, keeping the dark sky for the stars. There will no longer be lighting on the ridges, but along Route 82, just like the lighting of a private residence and other businesses. However, unlike most of these uses, our lights will be hidden by landscaping. Our goal is to have our guests feel like they are alone in the woods. Large lights and noise would defeat this objective. These are the specific changes you can expect to see on our plans. I will turn the floor over to our landscape designer, Brian Quinn from One Nature, who can talk a bit more about the limited changes taking place on my land to accommodate this plan. Brian?
Thank you. Thank you. Can you all hear me? Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Well, the prior plan was very mindful of environmental impacts because the entire project is now located on the eastern portion of the property. The ridge will not be impacted in any way. The eastern portion of the site is considerably smaller and the areas of development are limited, thus having a much smaller environmental impact on the land. We're preserving the existing farmland on the property and there will be only limited disturbance of existing trees. This disturbance will be offset by enormous amounts of native tree plantings throughout the property, throughout the parcel, the far eastern parcel. In response to community comments and considerations regarding visibility and disturbance, we have tightened the overall layout of the project to create a private camp-like feeling. As mentioned, the most visible portion of the property, the ridge, is no longer part of the project. Cabins will largely be out of sight from Route 82. We did this by tucking them behind the crests of the fields and by installing a really large number of new native trees and plants. All lights are dark sky compliant, as Stacy said, and thoughtfully placed. Our tree plantings will further block any visible light in addition to reducing ambient noise. This will allow both our neighbors and our guests to enjoy the quietness of Ancram. The revised project substantially improves the ecological value of the property, substantially improves it. The landscape plan proposes a huge number of new native trees, creates tons of native meadow habitat, and solely utilizes native plants. Additionally, the tree plantings will achieve carbon sequestration. Importantly, by shifting the project entirely to the eastern parcel, we have dramatically reduced the chances of impacting New England cottontail while creating excellent habitat that would favor their presence in the future. We also added about a mile-long footpath system that visitors can enjoy as they walk, bike, cross-country ski, and hike through the landscape, thereby not needing any cars to move about the site. Thank you for your time. I believe next is the engineer, Mike Bodendorf.
Thank you, Brian. For the record, Mike Bodendorf, us land design engineers.
Mike, you're on mute.
Don't mind, I'll stand and just kind of give a brief overview of the layout. I just want to run through.
Closer, can you bring the board a little closer?
Yeah, sure.
I'll block the way out.
Yeah, that's good. Mike.
Okay. So just to go over a few of the concerns that were with the west side, there'll be no more stormwater runoff to the western property line. The visual impacts, as Stacy and Brian discussed, will be eliminated. Noise impacts, the large sewer disposal system, the community water system is all eliminated from that side. The fire access road in the close proximity to the western property line is gone, so there's no issues there. There were concerns about poor weather conditions and using our internal access road. We'll no longer be using that road. There'll be no removal of trees along the western ridge. We don't need to cross the stream anymore or require any kind of permits. And in reality, really, it's, we're talking about no development west of the stream. There's really no development west of the existing driveway for the end. So let's just go through the layout here. We'll still be on individual wells and septics. All the septic designs we had previously proposed are still here. The 4 creek house cabins are still on the plan. As Stacy mentioned, we will have 4 A-frame cabins sprinkled throughout this area and the 11 seasonal tents shown in yellow here. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit difficult to see. We still have our fire access road on the eastern side. That will be our main entrance. And the general layout of the road has remained the same from the last layout. We are now providing parking spaces at all the living areas. There's no longer a need to, park your car in one spot and either get driven there or walk. You can park right near your unit. We're also providing overflow parking spaces near the amenity building, and then we have additional parking spaces near the end. So we're very adequately parked here. We're still encouraging a walking community here, but everybody will be able to park near their unit wherever they're staying. That's generally it for my presentation.
Great. And we have Frank Feliciotto, our traffic consultant, who updated the report, on a revised program. Frank?
Thanks, Taylor. Good evening, everyone. Members of the board, just for the record, Frank Feliciotto from Creighton Manning Engineering. As the board has heard, we've significantly scaled back the project to include development east of the creek only. What this means from a traffic standpoint is that we've gone from 33 permanent rooms in the previous plan to only 17 permanent rooms in the plan that's before you, with the addition of 11 seasonal, we'll call it rooms, based on the tent platforms. In terms of access to the site, it's the same as what you saw before relative to the east side of the creek. There's obviously no longer a driveway proposed west of the creek since that portion of the plan has been removed. There will be the one, excuse me, egress only driveway adjacent to the future inn, and then the one full access driveway at the far east end of the site where all site traffic will enter. And I'll just remind the board that there is adequate site distance available at these locations for drivers to safely turn onto and from Route 82. In terms of traffic volumes, we're still well below the ITE and DOT threshold of 100 peak hour trips. And our analysis conservatively assumes that all project elements will peak at the same time, which is unlikely based on the collection of uses that are proposed. There will be a varying behavior in terms of how they peak and when they are busiest, but we're conservatively analyzing them as if they're all going to peak at the same time. Our traffic analysis still demonstrates that there is adequate capacity in the roadway to accommodate the project. The driveways will operate at level of service A, which is the most optimal level, and there is no other mitigation necessary. And we are still in the process of working with the New York State DOT to advance the highway work permit process. I have this evening, happy to answer any questions if they come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. And last but not least, we have Beth Selig, who's a cultural resources expert. Beth?
Yep. Hi, good evening, everyone. Just for the record, Beth Selig, Hudson Valley Cultural Resource Consultants. As the board may be aware, in January of this year, the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, the SHPO, completed their review of the previous project design and made the determination that there would be no adverse impact on historic or cultural resources. Given that there has been a revised design put forth, this consultation with OPRHP will be reopened, and we will ask them to review the new project design. Given that it is a scaled down version and the overall area that will have new development is smaller, we anticipate that the previous determination of no adverse impact will remain, and there will be no changes in that area. And that was all I had to add.
Thank you, Beth. And that generally concludes our presentation, but of course, we're certainly here and our consultants are here if the board has any particular questions at this point.
I think, unless the board has something really specific to this right now, I think what we need is the opportunity for our consultants to review the submission, get their comments back both to us and to the applicant. And Jay, I think you said it looks like probably the 28th of March is going to be the best
No.
potential.
31st.
Oh, 31st, I'm sorry, 31st, the Thursday. Yeah. And is that good for everybody?
The workshop.
For workshop, yes.
That
And
would
again,
be-
that work-
You say the 31st of March for the workshop?
So, and that meeting, it's open to the public. However, it will be strictly between the consultants, the applicant, and the board, to get a better understanding of what the whole thing's about. And once we're comfortable with that, then we can reset the clock on the public hearing.
For the benefit of the public, we will be re-noticing the public hearing at the time that the board is comfortable with setting that process into motion. So we will be sending notice out again in association with that process. But just want to highlight, and one quick question, just for a point of clarification. Does the board need to make a resolution or resolve to set the work session, or I'm just deferring to Jay or John?
Yeah, we'll have to notice it anyway, it's a special meeting.
No, I just meant, was a resolution necessary tonight? to
So
set that?
we'll do it by motion,
Thank you.
Do we know what time that workshop is on?
7 o'clock, be the same as the regular meeting.
And the training workshop is open to the public, you say, we can come in, but not,
It's open to the public, no comments.
no comments.
Can I also ask that the consultant comments, are they going to be available to the public right away?
Well, hopefully they're going to be, I mean, this is, still a substantial project. So, the consultants at this point have, what, 2 weeks or 3 weeks to work on it, and that's it.
And then it will be immediately available to the public, and at the same time, it's available to you.
Well, yeah, it'll be available here, the presentation will be made again, and the consultants' comments will be. Consultants' comments will not go out to the public until the board has the opportunity to review them and have the workshop session. But, it's still an internal situation.
Okay, I only asked because we had to FOIL request the last set.
Right, but the consultants' comments prior to the workshop, prior to the review, are for the board's information.
Uh-huh,
And they're also to respond to some of the issues that they may have with the applicant.
right.
That will all come out in the workshop session. That's the purpose of the workshop session. And then once we get beyond that point, then we'll go to the public hearing.
Uh-huh. So, but if you can't attend the workshop, for example, would you be able to access those comments after?
After.
Okay, and will they be available for the public to review before the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a question. I didn't see in the hard copy package what the glamping, the structures are, and I'm wondering where the sanitary services are for those. Are there bathrooms in those tents?
Yeah, there are bathrooms in them, so there'll be water and sewer hookups to all the seasonal structures. And they all discharge to a designated septic.
And then the tents come down?
Yes,
Yes,
the platforms are
yeah, the
there.
platforms stay, but the tents come down.
Yeah, can we see those in the drawings though, because
Yeah.
the bathroom exposed all year round then when it's not in your.
We'll get you that information.
And yeah, as far as architectural drawings, maybe they can, some things to be added on that we can review a little bit better. The A-frame dimensions are, it says the size of it is 1'6" and I know it's not right. So the scale is off on that. And then on the inn, it wasn't quite clear to me what's existing and if there's new parts of the structure or if it's all the same footprint or
We could clarify that. If you look at the existing conditions plan, obviously that shows the structure of itself. If you look on the grading and utility plans, those show the original footprint of the building underneath it. And I could probably put a graphic together that shows what's new, what was there, what's being taken
yeah,
off.
just to give us an idea of that. And
It probably should be an architectural drawing from the architect. I have the same concerns. I don't know what
Yeah.
you're using, what you're adding.
yeah, and one of the details like in those like the elevation, it refers to courtyard side, but there's no courtyard called out on the plan, so it's hard to tell what side we're looking at. And so I think just those plans just need to be cleaned up a little bit. And so there's no development on the other side, but that will be used for the retreat as far as walking trails or not at all. I was also, well, I guess after our workshop, but to ask now if there's gonna be an opportunity that these things will be flagged out on site, that we can actually go there and see, like, maybe like the center line of this road where some of these structures are and really get an understanding of seeing it on site, or else, or with any photo simulations that we can just get an understanding of the views from offsite,
Mhm.
if there's no views or not, so that we can understand that better.
You're asking for before the workshop?
No, it doesn't before the workshop.
No.
I don't know if you can get it done by then, but
Yeah.
that's something that is probably gonna be needed at some point.
Yeah,
So-
understood.
It's just something that, as Aaron said, if you start working on that, I think it'll give everyone else some better visual.
Yeah, and hopefully the workshop will help us understand more fully what your concerns or comments may be about the current design, so that we're not designing something that isn't, palatable to the board.
Right, and by the workshop, hopefully we'll have our consultants.
And I don't want to speak for Brian, but I believe we'll have a 3D model
Yes,
at the workshop,
Oh, great.
which will help.
Yes.
Would there be a way for you to show elevations from the main road going by there to the top elevation of the buildings?
Cross sections?
cross section.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you would see from the road.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
That's some concern with the neighbors.
Yeah, and that'll actually be a very helpful diagram, because it will show the landscaping.
Dropping it over the ridge.
Right.
But
No, that's exactly right.
A-frames stick up.
It's easy for us to say that the trees are designed that way, but that's how they are. They're considering the topography and how you would see it from the road, and that's why they're placed where they are, but that is an effective tool.
Yeah.
Why was the direction of the driveway changed? Was that predicated by DOT?
I'm sorry?
The one,
Direction of what I would consider the main entrance is now an exit only. Why
that's,
was it changed?
That was
Yeah, that's
never
been the-
proposed as the main entrance. That's always
Right.
been an.
Well, it was an in, it was an in on the prior. plan.
well, just an into the house, existing condition, but it's always been an out for this program, it's at least as far as I recall, it's always been the out.
It was an in, it was directed in on the last proposal.
Frank, could you just chime in on this, just because I know we've worked this out previously with DOT, and as I understand, it's always been an out from the in. Which sounds
That's
weird.
correct, Taylor. Yes, adjacent to the inn, INN, it has always been proposed to be in egress or an out-only driveway. It's currently uncontrolled, but it's too narrow to serve as two directions when we modernize the property.
Well, look at this, it was an out.
If there may be a mislabel on the plan, but it's, the design of it, including our traffic report is always,
Well, I was just curious why
Yeah.
it changed, because with the new flow, this has become a very congested area with the new design. I think the adaptive reuse may be misplaced. And you have no control at the entrance, so now everybody's gonna drive. You've opened the restaurant up to the general public, and now everybody's gonna drive through the site. You don't seem to show any control building. So I think there's a major planning issue, but that's my opinion.
and that's why we appreciate that comment, and certainly we can have Frank and everyone look into just that, but it's been designed that way to ensure that there's better flow of the vehicles rather than having two-way traffic, but I'll defer to our experts on that.
Talking about the exit, I understand why it's an exit now,
Right.
but everybody's coming in off of the other curb cut and driving through the
Right.
entire site.
Right.
So if I was to show up to check in,
Mhm.
where do I go?
Right, you will go to the inn. Yes,
Yeah, there's a much larger parking lot there now. So
Also, I think that should be paved, and gravel has to be paved by handicap spaces. Can't strike gravel, so.
Right, I'm not sure if the plan shows it now, but we will pave, the handicap spaces at the end, I believe, have permeable pavers. And that's what we're proposing at the other handicap spaces as well, throughout the site.
Also, I have some comments or some. This comes from the ADA checklist, or I'll give it to you.
Sure, thanks.
What it basically says is all the units need to be accessible, not accessible units, but accessible.
Mhm.
And you have to offer each type of unit
Sure.
to the handicap.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that changed dramatically from the original
Well,
proposal.
I don't see it complying
Mhm.
yet, because all the paths and everything then have to be.
I just mean from a general perspective, the ridge presenting a much different circumstance than the current proposal. But we'll look into that.
So Joe, are you saying the interior doesn't have to necessarily comply,
What-
but access?
What the
does?
ADA says, if you have 3 types of rooms, you have to make one of each type of room accessible to the handicap, not just one room. All the rooms, you have to be able to get through the front door and into the bathroom. It's not an accessible unit, but they have to be accessed. It's another level of design.
Any other questions?
These platforms, they'll strictly be your tents furnished, your furnace is not put up for rentals for campers. Just regular campers, bring your own tent on the platform.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be Iron Star owned tents. It's not, you can't bring your tent to our, right, it's not, exactly right. It's not a camper or some other, right. Exactly, right. It's Iron Star.
Anything else? All right, if that's the case, I'll take a motion to schedule the workshop session for March 31st, 7 p.m.
Motion.
Motion made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Okay, Mayberger?
Since we're announcing our anniversary, this is our 6-month anniversary with you. We've come bearing gifts. Happy for everybody of the new plan, not really new, but have all the things added that you wanted, including the existing utility pole and the proposed utility pole. All the meets and bounds required on the shared portion of the driveway, and there are 3 transformers located as well. Our attorney updated the title of the driveway declaration because at first it only said driveway declaration, even though it did talk about the utilities and the rights of the various owners to work on the underground utilities. So we just changed the title of it to make it a little more easy for everyone to understand.
Safe drive.
Anybody else? And I think that is everything that you asked to be put on the site plan. And it does have a raised seal.
Is the leach field, is that so far from the house?
No, so far.
Oh,
And those have not changed. That's all as presented for several meetings now. The only thing that was added was a meets and bounds on the driveway and the third electric transformer that Dan omitted accidentally. Other than that, there's no changes. No, the well is on there.
Yeah, actually, John has it. He hasn't had it.
Or he does.
He does, but he hasn't had a chance to look at it. But he said he would do that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Leaps and bounds.
I saw that too, it cracked me up. Yeah. And told that they want to put up and everything will go underground. But we obviously can't show that because these are only potential house sites. So
No,
we'll
this is
show
what
exactly
subdivision.
where it is when we do
Did we-
the houses. We asked for conditional approval last time based on this.
That's a question that I'm not sure of. I
Okay,
mean,
so
this is what's required, so the question is,
the last item was the easement, and it has not yet been reviewed by John Lyons.
Correct.
So can you put a note on the map that there is an easement, a driveway maintenance?
It's in here already. Driveway, it's number 7.
Yeah, it says,
Six, that's it.
6 and 7.
it says planning board.
We can move to close it and then, based on John Lyons. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Aaron, any questions?
No.
All right, so then, first thing I have to do is entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
No second.
It was already closed.
What closed? Did you close last night?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Never
That's
mind.
easy. I thought we kept it open. All right, and did we do then if that's the case, I'll entertain a motion to grant conditional approval pending John Lyons' review of the easement document, which he has. Motion made, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. You did. I said we did.
So we don't need to see you next month. You'll just
No,
let us know when-
once council goes through the easement and approves that, then you can, you can leave the match with
I'm
Jerry.
gonna leave them all with Jay.
That's fine.
She
And
can
then,
just let us know.
once I get council's authorization, then I'll sign it.
There's an ongoing email chain.
Yeah, no, I saw it there.
In there, so they're on it.
Yeah, I saw it today.
Perfect. I'm leaving you all these sticks. Thanks.
Would you want a copy of the actual engineered? And this is just for construction, everything is on there already.
Yeah.
Leaps and bounds are on there, this is just.
That's the plat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all, that's all.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna think. They don't.
I just want to make sure.
For each one of them and
We'll have
and the
these
building
when we
permits
get
anyway, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Eddie's gonna want that. My favorite color.
Yeah. Okay, moving right along. Hey, Burger, special use, site plan review, special use permit. I think, council for.
Sorry, I'm here.
At the board, everyone's received a copy of the revised resolution by John. Are there any other questions for that? If not, the first thing I want to is a motion to accept part 3 of the EAF that was finalized.
So moved.
Motion made, second. All in favor? Opposed?
Who was
Carried.
the second?
Joe and, no, it's Palmer. I knew it was over here. What was you? And then I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution with the condition that prior to any work starting, the applicant must get a building permit and final approval from the building department. Motion made, second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay,
Thank you.
new business. Valley Lemma, David Cyclone.
Probably online.
Online?
Yes, probably.
Hi, did you say McNally Learner?
Okay, you got it. Jay, not there?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. All right, why don't you make your case?
Okay, I just want to confirm because I'm having trouble hearing you. Is this the McNally Learner property?
Yes.
Sorry? Okay. Hi, everyone. I had, my request is for a preliminary approval, a preliminary ASPR approval. I have appeared twice before this, just to touch base and to get input from the board. And what I've done in these drawings is I've amended the area of disturbance calculations according to the feedback that I received from Jay Hoffman from the last planning board meeting. And I've also provided an email exchange with Mike DeRuzio addressing, my understanding of how we would proceed with his input in terms of septic design. And so I suppose what I'm seeking is a provisional or preliminary approval pending approval from the permitting and buildings department, and that everything else is in order.
What? Well,
Yeah, I didn't see it. I did see, obviously it's septic.
yeah.
And I don't see
Is there a well on the property yet?
No, there is no well in the property yet, and the well has yet to be located, so that hasn't been indicated in the drawing.
Here, either. It's just a sloppy pit.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry?
The septic system, I mean, I know you've spoken to Mike from the county, however, we're gonna need the exact location on there approved by him before we can approve this.
Oh, understood. Yes, my intention, so I just want to clarify. I'm not seeking, a kind of formal approval from the board. My presence here is really just to make sure. In fact, I understood potentially from Jay that a board member might have already visited the property or was intending to. And so really my purpose here is to make sure that there's nothing other than getting official design and approval for the septic that would stand between my client and approval for this project. And I'm really just here for feedback and conversation with you all.
Yeah, I walked the property and the flagging for the driveway looked different than what's on the map, like it followed the tree line. I also didn't see anything in the woods as far as flagging for the garage, so this was a few.
That's right. That's right. The garage structure has not actually been officially flagged yet. That still remains to be done, but I suppose what I'm maybe asking the board for, are there any issues that you're seeing that are an issue in terms of potentially getting permitting, assuming that septic is designed and approved and all the other drawings are submitted as required to the Department of Buildings. In other words, I'm asking about ASPR and if there's anything that you're seeing that's a problem.
Oh, I think the biggest two things, and the septic system, and obviously, as Ann stated, you know, the final stakeout of everything so that we can go look at it and see if there are any other impacts. No, whatever your garage is gonna be, because Annie said it's not staked right now, what?
It wasn't, and the driveway
Yeah.
followed the tree line. I'm not sure where it is, but.
Okay, so just so I understand, so it's a requirement of the planning board that that all driveways, proposed driveways, and proposed buildings are officially flagged before approval can be given. Is that what I'm understanding?
Normal case, yes. I mean, depending on the land, but in a situation like this, yeah, I think we need to have it all staked. And the septic approved and located, and the well approved and located. Or located anyway.
You gotta look at drainage
Yeah.
for some sort of runoff design, whether it's a water garden or something. You got a 10-foot elevation change between the garage and the house.
Right.
Downhill. We need some grading information. I mean, I don't know how you're gonna get, climb down a mountain, slide downhill.
Okay, understood. So you're seeking a more formal site plan that shows cut and fill and drainage on the property. I guess I just want to make sure I leave this meeting understanding exactly what kinds of data and information that the board requires for approval. So the next time I come, I have everything that I need. Because I wasn't aware that I needed to, the stakes that were already, the flags that were on the property were for our internal purposes of beginning to try to site the house. I didn't know that they were for the board's purposes, and that was a requirement. But if that is a requirement, then I can try to make that happen.
Staked out. In a case like this where you've got, you know, the topography that you have there, it's even, you know, I think it's more of an issue, so that we need to have that all staked out.
Yeah, we don't know.
Okay.
That's it. We'll look and see what trees have to come down or anything else as well.
It's coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. So the process would then be, and are you asking me for a formal drainage plan? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I think you need to take a look at it and to show what you're intending to do. You know,
No.
You got to deal with that water somewhere. How are you making that transition from the garage to the house? Are you doing stairs?
Understood. Understood. We can provide a diagram that clarifies where we're going to place culverts under the driveway, et cetera, to make sure that water is moving the way it needs to move. And is there a particular set of requirements I should be thinking about with respect to some of the what I would consider minor tree clearing that will be necessary for the garage? Is there a reference that I should be referring to in terms of what is permissible and what may not be?
Email me and I can give you the DEC guidelines.
Okay. Understood. Okay, so for the next time that we appear, we will have staked out the exact location. You saw the house. I'm assuming you've seen the way that the house has been flagged. Is that correct?
Oh, Ann was up there and she did. Is that where it's going?
That is the proposed location of the house. Yes.
Then if to tie everything in together, the driveway and the garage, and then we can make a conscious decision looking at what trees are going to be removed and everything based on that.
Okay.
At least in sight.
Understood. Just to clarify, are my calculations for area of disturbance more of an accurate reflection of what the board is assuming and expecting to see in terms of the offsets?
Yeah, somewhat, but you have to connect all the boxes because the equipment doesn't fly from one box to the other.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Or the excavator is gonna go between areas and it
Yeah,
doesn't come.
because this area in here,
The
between
septic,
here and here is getting disturbed.
yeah, and there and that's,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's not, the machine doesn't fly. It has to-
Actually, we were going to use a brand new technology, which is a flying excavator.
Yes, with a drone attack.
Yes.
It hovers.
Yeah.
Electric motor?
Yeah.
Okay, understood, understood. So I'll create bridges between those areas of disturbance, not a problem.
Here might be helpful.
We need the ag data statement on the plan.
Yeah, because this plan is not there.
That's why he's here, to speak for us, because.
All right, Jay, did he do an act data statement?
Aaron specifically referring to the ag note, which is required to be present on the map.
Or you're going to the
Yeah,
map,
I'll
but did he do a
say
statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
But the ag note has to be present.
right.
If you email me or come into the office, I can give you some boilerplate.
Yeah, if you talk to Jay, he'll give you some information on what needs to be put on the map regarding the ag.
Not a problem. And then just as a final question, just to return to my earlier point, the house that was flagged, the house boundaries that were presently flagged, did those, were there any issues that the board saw with just that at this point, independent of the garage or the driveway?
No, I was anybody else out there on you end? Were you there?
I went by myself.
Yeah, so if no one else has been out there, we'll still need to take a look at that. So,
We have permission.
yeah, as long, I did see something about we have permission. I think the best thing to do is, once you get it all staked, let Jay know, and then we can go out and take a look at it and get a better understanding of what's happening.
Understood. And typically, how many board members go out on an average, like new house construction like this, to see the stakes?
Together, or, you know, 4, but.
Okay. Okay, so we'll make that happen. So my understanding is I'm going to finish staking off the various pieces, provide a drawing that indicates the basics of how we're planning to drain. And what else? I think, and then amend some of the notes on the drawing.
And the well.
Okay, so in order to approve, you need to see the well location as well. Okay, understood. This was very helpful. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you all at a subsequent meeting.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, moving along, lot line adjustment.
How's it going?
All right, what's going on?
My name is Darren Mosier. I'm with Girlfriend Associates. I'm here representing Gregory Long and Scott Newman in a proposed boundary line adjustment. On the boundary line adjustment, there are 2 parcels, both owned by both owned by Gregory Long, parcel 2 being owned jointly with Scott Newman. In the boundary line adjustment, we will be taking parcel 2B, that small triangular piece, and taking that from parcel 2 to and adding it to parcel 1. Parcel 1 now being 11.3 acres and becoming 11.45 acres after the boundary line adjustment. The total acreage that is being proposed to be adjusted from one parcel to the other is 0.15 acres.
Reasonable setback on the side of the front setback.
That says setbacks 20 feet.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions, man? I don't know. Is there anything on parcel one right now?
Yes, there's a house, parcel one is on both the east and west side of, Pools Hill Road there.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a garage on the west side and a residence on the right hand side.
Yeah. Yeah, we said, one time? Any other questions? Comments? Yeah, we can, we don't need to schedule this for public hearing, right? There's a lot of adjustment, we can waive that. Board in favor of waiving that requirement? Okay, motion made, seconded, all in favor? Opposed, carried. Motion to approve. Motion made, seconded. All in favor? Opposed, carried. All right. We got that.
Thank you.
What, anybody, what do they ask?
Hold on, one moment. First, John, do you want to stamp maps now?
I can. Yeah. But, Jay, come up here, and the board that you talk about the Dropbox, right?
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
keep going with that one.
And there is another person who is not on these maps.
Oh, okay, then.
What?
Yes, it's me.
Oh.
I got everything to John on Wednesday. The 10 days prior was Sunday. And unfortunately, I didn't make it on the official agenda. The reason I am here is the Peggy Lampman subdivision that we just went over kind of recently. And if you look at the Peggy Lampman subdivision, the Kilmers have a small lot to the west. And they have some encroachments. A shed that encroaches 11 and a half feet, and a kennel that encroaches. So it's the house they live in, it would be they got a trailer on. Yeah, so what's happened is because of these encroachments, the Lamans do have a buyer for lot one, which they did have when we went and was going through the subdivision. Of course, that encroachment has existed since 2000, when the Columbia Land Conservancy took it as well. So at this point, the buyers don't want to buy with an encroachment over the property, and we want to try to take care of some unwanted non-conforming issues. So with that said, it is a lot line alteration between the Kilmers and the Landons, taking into consideration those encroachments. Also the septic, which is not on the original subdivision map of the Kilmers. As surveyors, we can't really show what's under the ground, we don't know what's there. But with the help of the owners of where it is, we found that some of that was over the line. So the proposal is parcel 2, which is a strange shape which does jut out into the field just a skosh, which is 0.12 acres, gets added to the Kilmers. And that way, the shed is not over the line, the kennel's not over the line, the seepage pit's not over the line, and the garden's not over the line. Now, in the zoning code, it states lots with pre-existing non-conforming related to lot size, setbacks, or other bulk requirements applicable to the zoning district in which the subject properties are located, and all area variance from the zoning board of appeals will not be found. So right now, it is encroaching, we're putting it on the property, we're making it better. Therefore, we don't have to conform to the side yard, rear yard setbacks as per the zoning code. Let's take it right out of,
Somewhere in, okay.
somewhere, right here. I like to put that when there is non-conformity. The problem being is it's at a point now that Peggy wants to sale, and these people don't want to give up more than they gotta give up. Also, you know, you're stretching it farther into the field and it's more back and forth. It's three different parties involved. With that said,
Yeah.
The note on the map indicates that parcel A 0.12 will be conveyed by the Lamptons, all of them, and become part and parcel of Kilmer's with their deed reference, and be conveyed by legal instrument and then consolidated by legal instrument to make sure that no new tax parcel is created at that point. We do have a copy of both deeds, one going from Lamptons to Kilmer's, and a consolidation deed of the total 0.54 acres that it will be. A letter from the Columbia Land Conservancy, because there is a conservancy easement on the property that states that they are all right with it. I expect a more formal letter, which I will forward to the board as well, that was similar to the Lamptons. We do have a application. The application is only signed by Ralph Kilmer. This is an updated application that's signed by both Ralph and Margaret Lampman. You have a consent of authorization from the Kilmers, and also there's a consent for Margaret Lampman as well.
What's the letter say? So they're okay with it?
What's that?
The letter says they're okay with it, both parties are okay with it?
Yeah, they say I can talk to them. I don't know who would sign that, but they did say that.
So the land conservancy doesn't have an issue.
The land conservancy has no issue. I expected a letter today. We did get
They
an email.
have no objections to propose subdivision plans for the land and properties.
Actually, I think that was the first one.
The last time.
Are these now conforming?
I think it was, that was all.
No, there's a note on there.
There's a note on that.
And actually, it says that it's, what did I just see? It's where it says that 10 feet. Yeah. So that's that in here.
We created it.
I know. We created a mess. I just read some, oh, here, accessory structures for on the rear yard setback, right there. But setback. That's 10 foot, right?
I would have to get a scale. I would be afraid to tell you that, and that was 9.5 or something.
I have a scale. What scale is it?
This is
10?
9.
Oh, it's up there. Yes.
You're saying the lot area.
Nothing. He said that non-conforming.
I don't think this one does.
It looks painted.
It's
Narrow that.
I think
But truthfully, I don't think, I think the non-conforming section of the zoning code, which won't be in here, will overrule that, because right now, it's an encroachment, and now we're making it better. So as long as we're making it better, it shouldn't matter, but that's not gonna be in here, that'll be in the non-conforming section of the zoning code. Which you should be that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, what is that?
Which we mentioned.
What is that setback?
Oh, from here to here, well, I didn't put it on there only because it's getting better, I didn't put a scale on it, so you look back. I heard you're still repeat. I believe it's 75, because it's a hard for With that said, if the board would do so without that, if you don't have any more questions, I'm happy to answer more questions. For Peggy Lampman and then time is kind of of the essence, you can look at the parcel A, and we're just moving arbitrary lines here. Parcel A is completely surrounded by both Peggy Lampman and the Kilmer's other properties. And I would love to see the board make the determination that a public hearing would be needed in this situation. As there's not really another neighbor for, gosh, over 1,000 feet plus away.
But you're not on the agenda. So is it legal or ethical for them to make a decision tonight? That's my question.
I believe it is. I had everything ready the 10 days prior, which the zoning code said to have. I don't think anybody's gonna challenge you and say, no, you can't do it either. But that's a determination the board must
I
make.
mean, I do think the issue here, and as Joe stated, he's decreasing the degree of non-conformance, which is what we're looking to do.
Yeah. Which we've done before.
Yeah.
That was 3-4 times. So
Yeah. No, and, you know, as far as the lot line adjustment, you know, we just did one before, and we've pretty much been consistent on a civil application by moving one lot line. Yeah. We waited for public hearing, we did it, and we've done it numerous times in the past, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the story with this garage? It's all by itself.
There's actually a trailer here. I didn't locate anything, but I wanted to show their
So
property.
this is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another.
So I believe, they lived there and the mother lived here, then the mother passed away and then they bought that. So they originally owned this and then bought this lot second. And there was always 2 homes on each one. From what I was told.
25 years and it's been that way.
They're not really old.
She said she went to school with Peggy, so I think they were neighbors back in the day. They must have traveled.
I lived here longer than that.
Right.
Way longer than that.
And actually, it's her mom that lives in Trevor.
It's a mom that lives in Trevor.
Yeah, it lives
So
in
I had
dad's
that.
house.
That's what it was, the dad's house.
And he passed and they moved into there, and now her son lives in the back.
Plus they own down the road.
Right.
Johnny's old, well, photo they
But nice little setup.
have. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I have not seen many people take care of a lawn more than he does. Like, I felt bad digging around looking for the monumentation. I was asking for forgiveness there.
So you said that there were letters from
Yeah,
fall parties, everybody's.
yeah, and the conservancy.
Yeah.
And Conservancy said they will have a formal letter, that they have no objection to have a formal letter to us.
So I know that this was also part to be non-foreign, but there's also part for, if they have to put in a new septic in here, is that part of this?
So the, why we added this area, which is flat here, is there is a seepage pit here. But there's plenty of area to then put a few different lines, which would service a 2-bedroom trailer, which would, which would give them plenty of area there to do it. And that was taken into consideration.
Or part of this,
for part of
yeah,
that.
good.
Now, obviously, we didn't go to the Columbia County Board of Health, because there's no need to at this point.
But that would help to make this more conforming too, to get a new septic system in there.
Yeah, but if you did that, you would do a repair.
It's a repair,
Right.
but much
But at least
better.
it gives you more room to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Seeing this, knowing this. I have no problem with it.
Having come here again.
Right.
and those are the same deal.
Yeah, no, I mean, and Wesley had stuff in, so. If that's the case, I'll entertain a motion to waive the public hearing. Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried, and motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, carried. All right, Wes,
Now, I think everyone, I do have another project that I'm not. But I do need some guidance for the next meeting of kind of how to handle it, rather than I try to handle it one way and then it goes another way. And Daniel Zasi is here. We had come in previously a long time ago, and they've been waiting for me for quite a long time. With Burlinghoff. I don't know if you remember the lot line alteration for Burlinghoff. It was before you in October of 2000. Says 19, but I was doing this one. But I'm not sure if you remember.
we'll get this first now.
If you remember this plan. And pretty much what it is the Assassins have a farm that's in the Conservancy, and there's 2 parcels that stretch out across the railroad. Across the street, and the application was that small parcel that stretches out. So this is Chase Road to the south. And they have these 2 small parcels that bisected like this.
Yeah, I remember.
And these 2 sections.
Yep.
So where we left it last was I was gonna do a consolidation deed, and it was approved with the condition that a consolidation deed would come in and then John would stamp the map. Since that time, what they wanna do is, there's that other piece which is on the other side of the railroad, which you see right here. And they also want to add that
What?
to their piece
This
as well.
little triangular piece?
Yeah, so that's the little triangular piece, but then you see this? And what they're doing is my cousin Barry, who owns this land, is gonna get part of this, and they're gonna get part of this. So I guess I scratched this application altogether and start a new application next month of a lot line alteration to conform with both of these and do it that way. Now, what makes it,
You never filed the other one?
No, we never signed off on it.
Never signed off on it. Now, what we're doing, and this is where it gets difficult, this is why I'm before it, is that all makes sense. But at the same time, with the same lot 1B is gonna be subdivided off too. So I think lot 1B is gonna be a separate subdivision in itself, which is way up the road here. But, so what I'm saying is, I probably, I probably can't
Take
do,
this and throw this out.
I probably can't do one application for a minor subdivision and a lot line alteration at the same time, right?
No,
It's gonna be two different applications,
I think it'd be too complicated.
one with three applicants, and then a separate application for this lot 1B, which will be a minor subdivision. And I think that's the cleanest way to
It's
deal
the
with
same
it.
property, it was never filed.
Okay.
So take this and just throw it out.
What are this have to do?
All right, so we're gonna do.
Because now-
I'm just trying to remind
We're
you.
gonna do a summary, correct?
Oh, no.
You can.
Three different.
Three different owners.
Three different parcels, three different owners, and things are just moving around.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I think, Wes, the best thing to do is go for the lot line adjustment first. And get that done, right?
Can we do both at the same time? Can I apply the two different applications even though he's the same applicant? And Daniel's here, Daniel's the owner, so we're just trying to figure out the best way to move ahead forward. Which one takes priority over the other ones if we can't do two at the same time?
You do simultaneously.
Yeah.
Separate applications.
Just do it
Yeah.
separate, yeah.
Lot lines is one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just don't-
and the other one will be required to go to public hearing.
The minor subdivision.
The minor subdivision, you go to
The
public
other
hearing.
one will be surrounded all by the farm.
Yeah, all it's doing is just move that lot line. From there you have it. All right, you got some.
And then I have one other question.
Come on, you
One
want
other question.
You're on overtime,
to-
buddy.
You're on overtime.
Yeah, I know.
It's government the land. Comes with different packages, different.
I know, you didn't mention that.
Pull us out of the backseat of his car.
Yeah, this is it, 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's do it on.
The red line.
I think I was scared when they made them.
Well, if you're down, it'll be-
So
I'm hoping you'll be.
I've been working, I haven't been working, but I got approached by Jim Murphy, who owns a lot off of Cottontail Road. And Jim Murphy was building a farm road that goes into his property and starting to do some clearing. At some point, Ed came over, Ferraro, and put a stop work order permit. It was deemed that he was disturbed over an acre of land that needed a speedies permit. This is Jim Murphy. And it's off Cottontail Road and,
Which end is Cottontail?
and Pool Hill.
Hill.
Yeah, so,
It also connects to Hall Hill.
and.
Yes, right, it's all, yeah.
Yeah, where's the property, that relation to
So here's Cottontail, and he owns two parcels, one that touches Hall Hill and one that touches Cottontail. This would be Scott or Pool Hill that comes up. So it's that parcel there. So, one of the things was to get the speedies permit. The speedies permit, was gotten and. SWIP, I'm sorry, stormwater prevention plan. So at that point, the SWIP was got and DEC signed off on it. He went back to Ed to try to get the stop work order permit, off of it. And it's Ed's understanding that because this property falls in the zoning of the steep slope and ridge line, or the steep slope section, that it requires site plan approval by the planning board. Now, my question, which I'm having a tough time kind of figuring out, is the map with all the steep slopes, which and I could be completely wrong, is a draft map, which was dated. That is a tool to show where steep slopes are. So if I do a minor subdivision, I know where I gotta compute the acreages and take it off. While the actual steep slope ridge line and that law that requires him to get site plan approval is the one that's in the actual zoning code book, which is this book. And if I look at that and then look where this property is, none of that red touches or is even close to that.
So, but we do have, depending on
No.
why
Oh,
we
we saw.
have slopes protection.
Yeah, but see, Ed might have been looking at the steep slopes that were initially out there. Yeah.
So-
What is he doing up?
So what he was doing was he was building a roadway to access the property. And one of the things is you cannot cut under a certain amount of footboard lumber. And he was doing a clearing, expanding a pond. And he was doing that, and that's what threw this into a thing. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for a site plan, because I've done the SWIP, I'm showed it, and I'm not really sure that, I don't believe, I agree that because I'm in on this draft map, that it considers that I gotta come before you as a board to show you a site plan where there's really nothing except for the roadways that he's building into the middle of the property. and a little bit of clearing.
Now, without proposing to build it.
At this point, no. I mean, in the future, definitely at some point, but there's not even a house site picked out, so.
Have you talked to Ed about it?
I mean, have I talked to the owner?
No, to Ed, bro.
Yes, but Ed's position was, I think it was because somebody came down hard on him to put this stop work permit on, that he was gonna kick it to you. So I'm kind of caught in this rock between the hard place do I need to come before you? Do I not?
I don't know, we're gonna have to research it because,
Yeah.
I mean, the-
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of looking at the use table.
Yeah.
See what we're-
A driveway isn't a permitted use. Not alone. He's just building a driveway.
Yeah, and this clearing on here, he comes with a house plan for up on this bridge, and that's anything that the town does not want to see. These houses at the very top of bridges. Explain.
but if it doesn't fall in the ridge line.
I can circle the property here.
What's- Show Colleen which parcel it is so she can
Look at it.
look at it.
Just barely here, yeah, it's now before the-
Right, so it doesn't-
So we're-
So I want to see it. This one.
You can see that this one right here is that weird shape is at the end of this, so it's like there.
Well, this probably was all part of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Was that law that went on with the Lucas Hall?
Yeah.
She did that a lot.
And I can survey, I just Yes, yes, because he has an existing gravel pit there that he can take less than whatever yards per thing. So the driveway existed almost to the cut of this property line, and then it got extended to go back. So
Yes, show Colleen which property.
I know it's hard to see, yeah. Yeah.
I think the issue that we might have to look at is, right now, the only issue is that clearing more board feet
And then the tax map isn't correct on this one. It's
than
changed if you look
allowed to.
now compared to-
I think it's 50,000.
So.
I gotta go back to look, I don't know.
50,000 boards out there, 30 years.
That's where this already.
Oh, I think it's about 1 year.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm.
This already existed.
So the existing.
There's also, you've got, I guess you didn't do it.
The existing driveway.
So.
Now, the new one went up something like that. So now this tax map doesn't include the permits. It's more like this. These two, this is one property, and then this is.
All right, guys, can we try to get one conversation because with the Zoom, nobody's understanding it.
Yeah,
So this already existed back to this point.
Correct.
And all we did was some there, and that was more footage for another blade than what's allowed.
It was over an acre of disturbance. There was a complaint by somebody that he was doing something illegal up there. Somebody came and complained to the building inspector, and the building inspector came and gave him a stop work
But he got,
permit. And that was over 2 years ago.
but he got his SWIP permit.
And then he went and got a SWIP permit. We provided that to Ed, and Ed then said at that point, there's nothing he can do because we fall on the steep slopes and it needs to come to the planning board for site plan review.
So it's not.
It's not actually.
And I-
It
and-
is in steep slopes, it's not in the ridgeline protection zone. It's two different issues.
Right. Right.
But I don't believe there's a section of steep slope that forces you into doing a site plan review. It's the steep slope ridge line protection, steep slope
All
slash.
right, Wesley, but in any site plan review, this board reviews all the natural features and the wetlands and the steep.
Right,
slopes.
but the question, but
We
the
don't
question
need to-
lies, what is he really here
Right.
for? And I think we need to run that by council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do, because,
Build his road.
yeah, I mean, you know,
City has a pond.
No, eventually, you know, whether it's a year down the road, whether it's 20 years down the road, whether it's 30 years down the road, there probably is gonna be a house site somewhere on this property. At that point, it will trigger a site plan review by the board,
Right, but
where everything can be laid out and done appropriately at that
Right,
point.
but if this is done inappropriately, all that clearing has been done inappropriately, the driveway's been put in inappropriately, and then you're asking for forgiveness.
Don't call it a driveway.
Okay.
Because it might not be a driveway, and that's another issue. It's
Oh,
that it
yeah,
hasn't
it's a
been built like a driveway.
I think we need to run it by
It
council.
says driveway on the plan.
Well, that's because he put it on.
He put it.
And I could call it Wood Road or Trail.
No,
or whatever.
I think in reality, we need to check with council on it, because, you
So would it make
know,
sense for me to write a letter to you
Yes.
that you could then forward to council to make it easy to understand?
absolutely.
Because that's the only reason I come to this, because I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't want to do something 20 times and do it wrong.
Is there currently a stop work order that's enforced?
What's that?
The stop work order, has that been resolved or not?
No, he won't stop that because he believes that it's automatic trigger because he's in the steep slope, which is the draft map, which,
So.
you know,
Can I
it really should, if it was in the red, then it would automatically trigger it.
Yeah,
Can I get a motion from the planning board to work with Ed Parado to reach out to John Lyons or Kim Garrison?
yeah, but I think in the meantime, Wesley should get me a letter explaining why he came here before us tonight, and we can address that with Ed and with John, or Kim.
So can I get a motion?
Yeah.
Motion.
Motion made. Second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Yeah, Wesley, I think that's the best way to handle it.
That's what I can reiterate kind of what I said here tonight, and that's you don't have to try to write or take it.
Did you ever hear from this guy's acre?
Yeah, it's a big wetland.
It's a big one. This one's, he was here last month.
Oh, that was a survey. Yes, he did, he went to, yeah, you remember?
He's on 82 of the Village Farm.
Yeah, because he had scratched out, you know, and we ready for.
Oh, yeah,
He got back, he actually signed it back.
With Jim notification, I never talked to him, but Jim.
Okay.
Jim figured it out.
Yes, and he's a legal document. Yeah, no, he brought it to me all cleaned up, and that's fine.
That's just, I was just curious.
Yeah, he did it all. All right, so yeah, Wes, I think that's the best way to handle it. So give me a letter as soon as you can, and I'll give it to Jay, and him and Eddie can work it out, and we'll put it online.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry, I can do this. Yeah. You snuck in. Okay, yeah, it's the back door.
I know, it's well practiced.
It's still early.
It's still.
All right, guys, we'll hang this a second, and we need to discuss. Let me go back.
It's on the record.
Well, it should be all right. Okay, yeah. Try it. Okay, you want to bring up?
It was kind of weird show initially suggested Dropbox.
Yeah, I think one of the problem is that you may have had, and I have the same problem, I don't have, Gmail. So everything I do through Outlook.
You don't need a Gmail, you just need to, just make a Google account. And that Google account will then give you access to this Google Drive.
And
So you-
why is that better than Dropbox?
I think Dropbox, everybody else wants to get a Dropbox account. I think Dropbox will pay for also.
No, you don't have to,
No, we-
under a certain limit.
This, we're gonna exceed that limit because it's like.
Oh, yeah.
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 Who puts on this? No. We pay for the town pays for Google. Town is the town has Google Drive, that's big enough to. Right, so I know, right, I know Dropbox.
So can I ask, so this, we each have to have our account, and so it's getting delivered to each of us, it's not like
No, no, it's
one
not. Hey,
place.
Michael, can you go? Sure. We're not up on the screen.
Yeah, I know Google Drive, but it's like you each have a Google Drive, so.
No, there's only one Google Drive.
And we open up into
Right,
it.
so you get, once you get a Google account, you then have access to that for Google Drive. My concern too. I was asking if you could throw it up on the screen. actually.
Google Drive.
Yeah, just so you can see, it just shows up as a folder that you then have access to, so you don't have to check your.
So will we be getting notices then when there's stuff in there to look at?
Yeah, absolutely, you can get notice to your regular emails, like, by the way, we just updated the Google Drive. Like, Jay said that.
as a monthly folder?
Yeah, exactly, right, but the follow was that's right. the
All right,
follow
so
is-
we did not all.
It's not all.
No, it will be a June meeting, a July meeting.
And it doesn't have to be a Gmail account?
No, you just,
Like-
what you need, like, if you use any other, you can use any of your email addresses to get a Google account. So you don't have to actually get it to the Gmail world, but you need an email address to be able to get an email account. And that Gmail account only will let you access the Google Drive. It doesn't do anything else. There's no email attached, you don't have to do anything with that. It just gives you permission to go to the Google Drive.
I gotta do a bunch of other things. before I
Can you
can
print
do
from it?
that. It's a new Mac. It needs to set up
Yeah.
privacy.
No, I was just saying, put it on the screen, so you just.
No, I can't do that. because It's a privacy thing with the Mac that I have to set up now.
Oh, okay.
So,
There's a print function too?
I'm sorry, what?
You can print from it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can open up and print, you can do whatever you want, because you'll have access to the documents that are in there. It'll just be the board members, and when you want to look at something, when you get an email, you just click on that folder. It can literally be set up as a folder on your computer, or you can just go to the Google Drive, online.
I feel like you don't have to get a separate Google account. I feel like you can share that folder out to others.
You can't, you need a Google account. You
You need to have a drive.
Yeah, yeah. That's all right.
Because we don't do it that way. We use the-
So anybody that doesn't have a Google account can get onto your Google Drive?
As long as you share it with them. You share them.
You can share documents and folders
Yeah,
with people.
yeah.
Without a Google account?
So you can't add to the folder,
Right, but you can share
but
that
you
folder
use
out.
a document.
Yeah,
Oh, so, okay, then I misunderstood.
yeah.
Have you
So
need it?
Jay, there be, Jay, can have the account, we put the documents in
And
there.
then we would.
Let us know.
And let us know.
Share. That's a way to. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. But,
I need two stamps.
so anybody can get into that Google Drive that has permission.
That you have to give them permission, you have to give them access. So like, they could take all of your email accounts and just find that permission.
To that. Oh, yeah, where I read this, that you need it.
And then if they do it, it's less expensive.
Well, yeah, it's already paid for it.
But Joe was saying. You've never paid Joe. You've never had this.
Well, so Dropbox is free for 2 gigs of storage. You can only use a little bit of storage, so we would, with these kind of documents.
I guess the host of the board, not the person.
Yeah, no, not the person, right, right. So the town.
The host, whoever the host is.
Yes, exactly.
Which would be the town.
Which would be the town.
The town. Well, you don't- Oh, exactly. So the town pays already for Google. That's why we figured. It was already a town.
So just in case. It works, I'll be honest with you, it works really well. I use it in all my high data files to be able to transfer to all the other licensed professionals, and it gives anybody permission that you want to give permission to, and you can stop it from giving permission from that other person to somebody else, so it's only certain people, but it works really well. The Dropbox. I'm sorry, the Google Drive. The Google Drive.
Yeah, I use it all the time. Well, just try it.
Yeah.
I have a learning curve, no matter.
Right, but it's.
The stuff is just there.
Yeah, yeah. You can download it or just open it and look at it. Yeah. I think it's pretty easy. I like it.
Yeah.
See how it works out.
So I guess.
It'll make life a lot
Jay
easier.
set that up, Right? Jay set it up.
Well, I guess we'll set it up. Phil and I will set it up if you want. Well, you gotta just download, or open a Google account.
Well, no, because I was saying that, I mean, I must have misread that when I was reading that.
Yeah,
Email.
Colleen was saying you don't have to.
Right.
Open a Google account. Jay would just share.
Oh, to each of our emails.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very.
That's easier.
Yeah. So.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Oh, I got one more. I better get out of here quick. Take it out.
We're adjourned.